Good
Ta-da!
evening, Chip and Company. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Live Disney News and Review. What an amazing intro. We have a real intro now. Speaking of intros, let's start off. My good friend, Chip Confer. Chip, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
What an amazing beginning that is. Like,
You
I
like
don't know
that?
where you produce, your production skills are tremendous.
Yeah, it's amazing when you go to school for stuff, how you can learn to do different fun stuff.
Man, I'm loving the intro. Like, we look all professional now. Like, I mean, we are a professional company. We might as well look that way when we're doing this. And
I had a Marvel one, but I don't know that we can get away with that.
yeah, we don't need them to get us in trouble.
No.
So, Chip, how you doing tonight, sir? Are you feeling any better? I know you were under the weather last week. You seem a whole lot better.
Yeah, I'm feeling better, other than the Penguins losing, 4 or 5 in a row. So,
Yeah, well, we lost. Flyers lost 10 in a row. I'm sorry, 12 in a row, and then we finally beat the lowly Winnipeg Jets. So there's that.
yeah, we're gunning for you.
And then there's our wonderful entertainment correspondent and writer, Kaitlyn Hogenkamp. Kaitlyn, it is great to see you this week. How are you feeling?
I'm doing so much better, and I'm happy to report the whole family's doing pretty great.
Excellent. That's really good to hear. I'm so happy with that. We have a new intro. What else do we have? We are now on podcasting on Spotify. Looks like we may be on Apple very soon and iHeartRadio. So not only is this a live show that we are doing on Facebook, YouTube, but this also gets broadcast to Spotify. So anybody who is watching this after the fact, please leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Give us any ideas you have on any of the stories you're about to hear. So I appreciate all you guys being here tonight.
Where are you at tonight, Greg?
I am, of all things, at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I'm in the little adventures room right off to the side. You can see I'm hanging out with my statue buddy behind me. He's overlooking everything, giving me some good juju, make sure the show goes good. We were live earlier at Animal Kingdom. We had a great crowd for live. We got to watch kite tails and check out the Tree of Life. It was beautiful. 83 degrees today. Just
I
a
wish.
wonderful, wonderful day. Kaitlyn, what's it for you? Because I know you're up in Maryland area and it can't be that warm.
No, it has not been. So the average the last few days has been in the 20s. Right now, we're at a balmy 45, and it's raining. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. I mean, we're supposed to get a couple days of warmth, but we're going right back into the 20s and 30s this weekend. So we'll see how it goes.
Oof. No, I'm good. We hit really like lower digits, and I'm gonna say like 32, I think was the coldest it got here last week. I debated turning on the heat for a second. I was like, no, I'm good. Heather, I see you out there. A few others. Fred's from Bensalem, PA, which is where my wife is from. So we got to talk earlier on Facebook. I just want to say hi to him and hi to everybody out there. We really do appreciate you guys joining us for Disney News and Review. Chip, what's the weather like for you right now? How is it for you?
It's rainy. I'm just a little bit south of Kaitlyn, so we didn't get the snow like all the people in the Midwest and the North. So it's not bad. It's in the 50s.
So yesterday, I'm going off script. Already, I'm off script. Yesterday was we had what was it? Puxatawny Phil saw his shadow, so it meant 6 more weeks of winter. Milton Myrtle or whatever he was in Jersey passed away a day before. It was sad.
What about that thing you saw in Florida? Wasn't it a swan or something like that?
Not only was it a swan, but it was the most belligerent swan I've ever seen. Like, it was a swan that had a top hat on and a fake mustache and was like, yeah, welcome to 365 more days of no snow. I was like, okay, thanks, belligerent swan.
I'm going to go more with Chuck's prediction up in New York. He was saying 6 weeks early spring, so that's what I'm hoping for. He didn't see a shadow.
I don't know. When did weather prediction by animal become a thing? Like, look, birds flying south for the winter. I'm going. That's great, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we're here for live Disney News and Review. Let's get some Disney review going on here of the news from the week, and we are going to start off with something that we got lucky with yesterday. of the Magic Kingdom Railroad, the steam engine number 2, the Lily Bell, started running again yesterday. There's reports that it may have been running prior to yesterday. Yesterday, though, was the first time we got a chance to actually see the Lily Bell in action coming through Fantasyland. It was quite amazing, guys. I'm a huge Walt Disney World Railroad fan. So if you got a chance to check out the Instagram or Facebook or the YouTube, it just blew my mind. So Kaitlyn, give me do you have a train story? Because it just seems like everybody has an emotional attachment to the train and to the Walt Disney World Railroad. Do you have anything special about that?
I actually do. So when my husband proposed to me, he proposed to me in front of Cinderella Castle. But I got the pleasure of telling him that he was going to be a dad on Main Street USA, just at the hub. And he was a little shocked. So, using at the time my lifeguard skills, I was like, let's go find somewhere to sit down for a little bit, process that information.
That's some big news right there.
It's a big news. And so I was like, okay, we can go down to the railroad and we'll just go ride the train for a little bit until you're kind of caught up with what's going on. Because there's definitely like I got a little worried that he was
deer in the headlights look.
Oh, completely. He just went totally stonewalled. And for 45 minutes, we're sitting on the railroad and, I'm a little anxiety ridden because I'm like, oh no, is he upset? Is he going to be scared or what's going on? And luckily after that, interlude, he just stops and turns and looks at me and goes, I'm going to be a dad. I was like, oh, good. Okay. But so it was really great. We have so many amazing memories at the Magic Kingdom, but those two are ones that I don't think we'll ever be able to top. So I absolutely love it.
I agree with Mark, what he just said on chat. It's one of his favorite attractions at Disney World. As of the whole Walt Disney World, it could be one of my top 2 of all time. Chip, do you remember riding the train? I mean, you've been down here so long, like you've been covering Walt Disney World for 12 years or more. I mean, you got to have a train story.
Well, I mean, when I was younger, that was probably the first attraction I ever rode in the Magic Kingdom. I went with my dad, and as soon as you walk in, you're just overwhelmed with everything. But then you hear the train, and you're like, well, let's go ride the train. So we took the train around the Magic Kingdom, and that's probably my first Magic Kingdom ride was the train.
I think it was mine also. I think that's what my emotional attachment. But we have video. Chip, do you have the video of the train?
We do. The one you shot this week?
Yeah, the one I just happened to get lucky and was the first person to see it come down the track.
All right, here we go.
Look at how beautiful that is.
It's looking really shiny.
It looked. I know they were the Walter E. Disney. Is the original is locomotive number 1, I believe, and this is the Lily Bell, which is locomotive number 2. There's actually 4 Lily Bells around the world. I think Disneyland has one. I do believe the Walt Disney Museum has one. Disneyland, the Walt Disney World Museum, the Walt Disney Museum. And then I don't know where the third one is off the top of my head, but I know that there's 4 of them, and that's number 2.
So it was just, what was it doing? It wasn't going around the park.
No, so apparently from what we saw in other pictures it was doing a big giant half circle. So it was going back towards Frontierland. And if you were on the Liberty Bell, Belle, the Liberty Bell steamship, you could see a little bit of the train back there, and then it was going to Fantasyland. It looked like they were just testing out and getting it operating, and then they would trade off on who was the actual conductor. So it might have been training for new people who are going to be operating it. Hopefully, we're going to see it soon. I think they could actually operate it right now, and they could just do a big C, because there's only 100 yards missing where Tron is. So I think it could be operating.
But it's got to go underground for Tron, doesn't it?
It looks like they're going underground to go underneath the walkway. So it's going to be partially underground, partially above ground. But it's definitely going to be graded as a downslope. Yeah, so I thought that was one of the greatest things I saw all year at Walt Disney World. Like I couldn't tell you how happy I was. Like I can't convey the joy I have in seeing the Walt Disney World Railroad back there. So
You just hear
that
it
was
coming down the
amazing.
track, and it's like, I gotta go.
Oh, speaking of that, and I'll tell you real quick, again, going off script, was sitting back at Storybook Circus in the tent, and I just heard the in the background this. I figured it was part of the soundtrack, not knowing what the soundtrack is at Storybook Circus. I don't sit back there very often, but it started getting louder and louder, and I'm like, that sounds like a train. And I literally dropped everything and I ran, and I left my bag at the tent. I mean, it's not that far. I was lucky because I was the only person back there. There was nobody else back there, and I had to text a few friends of mine, and just it was it was funny. I was like, you don't understand how emotional this is.
I think Holly's killing on you in the chat there.
Holly, if she was next to me, there would have been like grown man tears. I would have been holding her up. She would have been holding me up, and yeah.
So you're the Sheldon Cooper of trains? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Disney
that's.
Trains?
We can go. Okay. We'll go with that. All right, on to news number 2. We're going to stick with the Magic Kingdom for a few moments here. We do have a few news stories about that. It looks like Figaro was added to the outside in the flower pots over at Pinocchio Village House. It is so cute. It looks like Figaro is chasing a butterfly, and it's quite large. I would say it's about 1.5 feet, almost 2 foot tall. Now, Chip, I don't know if you remember, and Kaitlyn, you might even know too. I'll ask Chip first. Have you ever seen that there before? Because it looks like it belonged there. It looks like it was aged for a while. Has that been on there in the past?
Disney
I can't find
Magic.
any information.
No, I don't think it's been there. I mean, I believe when you wrote the article and we posted to the Facebook page, if it was there before, our fans would have called you out on it. But they didn't.
They would have called me out so quick on that and be like, no, it was there in 1987. And
we have
what are you
a
doing?
lot of Disney addicts. Yeah, I feel like that would have been something that they would have noted very, very quickly.
Yeah, and I think somebody in the chat, Chris, good to see you tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. I think one of the cool things that we saw there, somebody commented on one of the posts was, good job, Disney, because that just feels like they're bringing some magic back. So I know it's just a cat. I know it's just Figaro, but it was really cool to see. You were flipping out
on your own video channel when you were live.
Yeah, on Disney Fanatics, we were live and got to see it, and we showed you where Pinocchio was, and then we go around the corner to show you where the Figaro chasing the butterfly is. I love Figaro. I don't know about you guys. Like, I had a cat named Figaro once. It was black and white. It was that tuxedo color. I thought it was really cool. Onward. What else do we have going on? What's that?
The cat you're talking about, is that it had 2 nicknames?
Oh, the poor cat. So the cat's life started, it was a rescue cat when I was like 7 or 8 years old. And the cat's original name was Figaro because it looked like Figaro. And I loved Pinocchio. And I think it had just come out on a VHS. I'm showing my age. Chip, you remember VHS?
Of course.
Well, the cat walked across the stove, and it was an old pilot's thing, and it went poof, and it became very fuzzy. Like, it had no more hair. It was just all fuzz. So we renamed the cat Fuzz. So it was either Figaro or Fuzz, depending on how you knew the cat. Poor thing. See, now I'm sad. Why'd you have to make me sad?
Sorry, you went off script. I went off script.
Oh, it's going to be that way tonight, is it? Okay, so speaking of the railroad, Tron got the new roof has been installed, or is being installed right now. We have tent material that's going on top of it. You can see right there in the pictures or on chipandco.com, it's starting to the roof is starting to be installed.
Are they raising the roof, Greg?
They are raising the roof. I got nothing on that.
That's a good sign though that they're getting that canopy ready to go. I know they've been doing a lot at that front entrance.
That canopy looks amazing. So I know we have video of it. Do you want to roll the video real quick and we can show, because Kaitlyn knows exactly what we're talking about and where this is.
And for those listening on the podcast, you'll want to tune in on the YouTube
Absolutely.
page.
For those who listen on Spotify or go to the podcast, the video is up on the Instagram page and also on chipandco.com and on our Facebook pages. So you can check the video out there. So you can see down in the right-hand corner, you can see where their canopy is being installed. And then you can see the bigger layers are up on top. You have the mini dome, and then they have the large dome where the entranceway is. And then right down there, you can see where they're building the walkway is almost complete for the entranceway in there. So I don't know. So Kaitlyn, what do you think? Like, my opinion here is once they get the canopy up and the lights on, Tomorrowland's going to look 100 times different.
Oh, it's gonna. I mean, it's always kind of had that like kind of bioluminescent sort of look. Not quite like Avatar, obviously, but I think this is gonna have the ante in Tomorrowland, and I would not be surprised if Disney kind of sits back and goes, you know what? Maybe we should have Imagineering do a little bit of cleanup. So I'm thinking we might get some added features in other areas of the park to kind of help keep the theming together and cohesive.
I do too. That is going to be massive, and it's going to be very blue. You are going to see that across the park. I think it's going to change Tomorrowland so drastically. Yeah. Oh, you're going to see that
people
from
on the
every
monorail,
hotel.
like it's going to be, yeah. I mean, from the Contemporary, that's going to be absolutely stunning. At top of the world for DVC, I think that's just going to be an absolutely stunning view with the fireworks too.
It's going to be, and I really think that they're going to be changing Tomorrowland up in the future because it's going to become.
They need to fix up Tomorrowland Speedway, get rid of those stinky cars, and give that area like an update, like a futuristic update.
I'm with you, but okay. Again, we're going off script here. I do have a script, just so everybody knows out there who's watching or listening. There is a script to the show, and then we start talking about this, and it's like, oh.
It's because we
would
love
they
it.
Get rid of the Tomorrowland Transit? Do you think they would get rid of that completely, or do you think they would like update it to electric cars or something? Because that smell when you walk by there is so ingrained. Like I can walk by that and smell that anywhere in the world and go, "That's Tomorrowland Transit Authority."
You know, I'd like to see some like.
Go ahead,
Transit
Kaitlyn.
Authority is the one up top. Speedway's the cars.
Oh,
yeah, not the people mover. No, yeah, we're keeping the people mover. I think that it would be really cool to maybe even see some like the mag trains, but kind of like with like some cars or whatever on there. I think that would be really cool, or maybe some electric vehicles and have like different models and stuff to kind of test out. I think
that's a great idea. You have models from all ages. So if you want to be in the gas car, you can. If you want to be in a diesel, and then you have some electric ones, and I'm cool with that. Like, I think that's great, and it gives you the history of, oh, the cars were always growing to their future. I think that would work.
I think that'd be a fun retheme.
It would be a good, fun retheme. Onwards to, well, we're still at Magic Kingdom. Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain. Speaking of retheming, and we don't know if it's getting the retheme or not right now, but the water's been drained out of the whole ride. They've brought in giant cinder blocks that they had stacked up the other day. So that's just not a normal refurbishment to me. If you're draining the water, you're going to repaint.
What was that, Greg?
Yeah, draining the water. That would be WUDDER from Philly. You'll understand. Sorry, draining the water. See, it sounds weird coming out of my mouth. So you drain the water there, and they're repainting around the whole insides. What do you think, Kaitlyn? I don't know if you know anything or not, being in the entertainment and sometimes knowing a little bit in advance. Is this the big retheme that we're going to Princess and the Frog, or is this maintenance that we normally see?
I feel like right now this is probably primarily maintenance, maybe a little bit of prep to make sure that everything is structurally sound and ready for the big refurb. But I feel like if it was really underway, Disney would definitely be capitalizing on it media-wise, and we would be hearing a lot more news about it. We'd get some sneak peeks. We would get an idea of what they're doing in the parks, because they like to keep guests informed whenever there is this big attraction update, like what they've been doing with Tron. So I think that for now, this is probably just maintenance and a little more prep.
I'll go with that.
That water gets kind of like a lot of algae and bacteria and stuff like that, and they're draining it to paint and clean, and pressure wash, all that stuff.
And let's remember too, it is Florida, so sometimes you get a sneaky little gator that likes to make its way in there. It's happened a couple times. They've had to clear the channel.
I want to be on Splash Mountain and have a gator float by.
Oh no, you do not.
I absolutely do. I'd be like, hey, it's a gator.
There's no serpentining in those boats.
Carrie, Joe, Fitzpatrick, guys, I know you guys are from Pittsburgh. I'm going to say hi to you guys real quick. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's so nice to see that we have a lot of friends across the country and across the world watching while we're doing this. And then if you're listening out there, guys, thank you again so much for listening on the new podcast. You're probably going through Spotify. Hopefully it'll be on Apple Music. We're waiting for the approval on that, and iHeartRadio. So thank you guys all very much for listening and watching and commenting along. We appreciate that. Okay, here's the big news that Disney dropped on us the other day. We are getting the new Cavalcade and the stage show. The times have been added to the calendar now. So now you can go through and plan out your new Cavalcade, which is called Disney Adventure Friends. And the stage show is called Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair, which used to be Mickey's Magical Royal Fair. It's an update to that. Yeah, it looks like, let me see.
There's a lot of characters. If you look,
there's a lot of characters. I'm going to go through the Cavalcade ones real quick. I'll just name off a few because I'm really excited to see Nick and Judy from Zootopia. Miguel from Coco is going to be on there. Moana, Merida, Jungle Book, along with a lot of the other friends you see out there on the. I love the Cavalcades. I'm really happy that we're getting a parade back, but I love Cavalcades. Kaitlyn, where do you stand on this? Are you a parade person or Cavalcade?
I prefer the parades because I like to see as much as I can, and sometimes with the Cavalcades, it's like they just kind of zoom past. So it's kind of nice that with the parades, you get a little more face-to-face time with the characters, because I know right now meet and greets they're not really a thing right now. So it's great to be able to like point and say hi, and it feels a little more interactive. But I mean, I'm a sucker for a good parade.
Yeah, well, the parade's going to be coming back soon too. So we have the parade's going to be coming back in March, somewhere in March, early March. The Cavalcade starts on February 11th, and it looks like the times right now are going to be 11:15, 2:15, 4:05, and 5:50. That's going to be for the new Disney Adventure Friends. So, I mean, they're not getting rid of the other ones. They're getting rid of the Friends one, but they're still going to have Mickey and Minnie's 50th anniversary Cavalcade. You still are going to have Tinkerbell doing those. So they're going to be staggered. And what I thought was really nice was seeing them going until 5:50. They haven't really been going that late.
What time is the 4 o'clock parade, Greg?
That would be at 4:05 actually. PM, Eastern Standard Time.
Kaitlyn knows that joke.
Yeah, as a cast member, I can't even begin. I wouldn't even be in Magic Kingdom. I'd be in a totally different resort or park, and they go, "Excuse me, when's the 3 o'clock parade?" Without a doubt, every day. So I get it. But one of the things I gotta say is seeing these shows and these Cavalcades and these parades coming back is a huge deal, because that means we're getting more entertainment cast members coming back, which means that we're getting what helps bring the magic to Disney. Being immersed with these characters and getting to join them, in their world is one of the greatest things about going to the parks. And some of my best memories are, through meeting those characters. So this is a really positive sign. And I know there's a lot still to be done, but this is a great move forward.
Well said. I couldn't even say it any better. You nailed that one on the head. I agree with you completely. I cannot wait. I love the interaction I have with characters. Normally, I will let kids go in front of me and do what they're going to do because it's a kid thing. But it's really nice to see Minnie Mouse blow me a kiss because I have giant blue hair, and so she can see that. I don't know.
Kaitlyn, you want to hear something funny? I was watching Greg's live yesterday, and I noticed anytime he greets a character, his voice goes up an octave. And it's really weird. And I made a comment in his chat while it was going on.
It's not even a lie. I can't even lie on that one. Like I have no clue what it is, but a character will walk by and all of a sudden I'm like, and it just goes
Chris,
up.
there's another Chris out there. Not a Chris from Orlando, as the joke is with a lot of cast members, but saying that he's got the jokes out in California too. So I guess Chris from Anaheim. For any cast members who get that joke, so off script again. Sorry. So if you see a cast member that has the name Chris, there's a 50-50 shot that their name is actually Chris, and that it's not just a spare name tag that happened to be with the management. So that's always the joke, is that Chris from Orlando. Excuse me, that Chris from Orlando is like a general cast member. It's like your average Joe at the parks.
Right. Okay, so the stage show, Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair, will be playing starting February 25th, with the first show is 12:15 p.m., followed again at 1:30, 2:45, 4:35, and then 6:10 p.m.
Wow.
I'm amazed that it's going that late. Like normally we don't get shows that late in the day. So
no, especially because that's usually dinner time and everyone's trying to prep for fireworks and parades.
Exactly. So I'm really happy to see the times on these. We now have this stage show in the morning. Again, it's only 2.5, 3 minutes, but it's just so nice to see these stage shows and the parades and the new Cavalcade. Just there's so much going on. Like it feels great down here right now. Have you ever seen Mickey's Magical? The original one, was it Mickey Magical Royal Fair? Did you ever see that?
I saw it once because for some reason, it just always would happen. I would either get to Magic Kingdom right when the last firework bit was going off and they were all running off stage, or I would catch it like just too early, but there was already too many people and they were already pushing everybody out of the hub. So, because they don't let you stand on the street during that. So it was always like, I think I caught it in the full length one time.
Chip, what are you on the
parades?
I
enjoyed it.
And stage shows?
Like, am I in one? I'm not really in one right now, but
yeah, well, it's the Chip and Co float. We're cruising on a float right now down Main Street, USA. Doesn't everybody see it?
Type of question in chat. And I'm like, what? Wait.
Oh my gosh! Next week, on your background, I need to see us on a float. That's what it's going to be. Like we're just going to get green screens behind us, and we'll just be on a float.
We'll pick our favorite.
It's our own parade.
There we go. Now I can answer.
All right, so tell us your favorite show. Go on, give me one, Chip.
Well, I like Main Street Electrical Parade. That's my favorite.
Yeah, of course. That's a great one.
Go-to classic. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're getting it out in California, I believe, right?
Yeah, it should be up almost any time now. We just don't have an exact date from them.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite.
The only show that I ever and really sad that I never got to watch was Paint the Night out at Disneyland. I never got to see that one live. I need to go make a Disneyland trip. That needs to be next on my list.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool because with the Paint the Night, whenever people had the ears and stuff, and you got the little paintbrush, you can flick at their thing and it would change the color on it.
What?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What? Where have I been? Why have I never heard of this?
Oh, you need to go watch it.
It worked with the special lights.
I'm going on YouTube later and going to watch it then because that sounds amazing. I got to say that the Christmas parade's my favorite. Like you see Mickey, you see the wooden soldiers. It's headlined by Santa Claus. I mean, who doesn't love Santa Claus? All right, so that should be it for the Magic Kingdom. Let's move on to outside the Magic Kingdom onto other parks. We did a story earlier where we saw that Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser is opening up very soon. They're doing testing on it. They've changed some of the signs outside in moving to in and around on the roadways here at Walt Disney World. They removed the purple signs and now they're throwing up blue signs. What do you guys feel about that? I'm indifferent on that one right now.
I mean, I'm fine with a good re-theme. The biggest thing for me would be consistency. So if we're seeing it in one area to help keep the flow, literal, of traffic, then I think that it would be a good idea that they kind of do that throughout all of Walt Disney World. And one of the things I got to say is I know some people have been complaining it's a little harder to see at night. And that's totally reasonable. But I did note that it's very similar to the new entrance structure, like how they have it in the grays, the blue, and the gold. It matches that theming quite a bit. And I know similar as before with the purple, that was kind of in the front entrance as well, that purple and
Yeah.
red and yellow. So I mean, it makes sense if that's what they're going through, but I really hope that they bring that through all of the resort, not just.
I agree.
our Star
I think you said
Cruiser.
it great. You have to have it everywhere. It can't be just going to Star Cruiser. You can't just put like that purple sign is, I mean, you know, you're at Walt Disney World. You're on the resort property when you see that sign. So if you're going to switch one, switch them all. Just go all in. You might as well just go on. And while you're at it, change the Tower of Terror sign. Like, you know, that small Tower of Terror sign that sits out there as you come in off of World Drive?
It's a little sun faded at this point.
It's a little sun faded. It doesn't work 90% of the time. It scares people. Like,
yeah, so I have a fun story real quick. So when my family, when we went to Disney World for my first time when I was about 5 years old, we went for a big family trip, grandparents, aunts, you know, all that jazz. And we were, my mom has it on her home video. We're driving in, and basically, I forget who it was who asked this question. I don't know if it was me or my brother or my mom, one of us. But one of us asked if it was real people up on the billboard because we saw it moving, and they had the mannequins with their arms out. So we were like, what? Like, are they paying people to like write on that all day to advertise? And it's like, no, obviously not. But when you're a 5-year-old, you know, you're thinking, oh my gosh, like those are real people on there. And it was
not only that, but
when
like when you see it, like ropes are broken on there. Like it looks like you're going to die when you go to tower. Like I'm not going to ride Tower of Terror because those ropes are broken.
You could say it's terrifying.
There you go. See,
I know.
yeah,
That's pretty funny.
So, I mean, I think, I don't know if you agree with this, Chip. Are you into the all in or nothing kind of thing on this one? Yeah, I mean, you're changing a few signs already.
I think as long as you can read them, you're fine. I mean, if you want a purple, red, green, I don't really care. I mean, I don't go to Disney
I will say
for the road
that's
sign,
kind of
so.
what's been going on around here is people have been talking about the sign, saying it's a little bit harder to read at nighttime. So we don't know if they're going to light it up. They're going to have like LED lights underneath it to brighten it up. But some people have been complaining that it's a bit hard to see.
Usually when I'm at Disney anyway, I'm riding a bus, so I don't care. I care more about
totally
having
fair.
a seat on a bus than I do about a road sign.
That's why you rent a car.
Yeah. And you pay for parking and everything else, but
yeah. Chris Dye just mentioned about Fantasmic coming back, and how he used to love watching that. Chris was a cast member out in California. Speaking of Fantasmic, we're gonna.
That's a good segue, and I didn't.
It's a great segue, isn't it?
Didn't even know. That's awesome.
So I see Chris set me up. I'm just knocking it out on this one. Fantasmic. The pool has been filled. Everything's back into place. It looks like
it's. Wouldn't it be a moat?
Okay. So is it a water retention pond?
It's a moat. Look at it. It goes around.
Wait, but it doesn't. Oh, I guess it does go. So where?
I told you pool earlier, so you'd say it. Then I could come back with sounding smart and say moat.
Okay. Is that what you? So earlier when we had our chat about the show tonight, I was trying to figure out what to call it, and I was like, "Is it a water retention pond? Is it holds water? Like it's got a, it's a water retention pond?" And they were like, "No, it's a pool." I'm like, "Okay, I'm calling it a pool." And then Chip comes out with a moat. Bang. So
I like to sound smart.
We are all big fans of Fantasmic here. And Kaitlyn, I know you worked at Hollywood Studios and you gave us a great story about seeing the top of Fantasmic on being out not parking cars, but being a car attendant. What do you call those? Parking attendant? Parking attendant.
So they call it main entrance operations, or MEO. So it's one of those things where, you know, when you're in that job, you know what the role is, but everything it involves helping to park cars, directing traffic. There's some locations it's also the ticketing booths where you pay for your parking, and it's the tram operators. So it's really nice that you kind of get to do a little bit of everything, but because as you can tell, I'm a little energetic, and even at the end of the night I'm still raring and ready to go. I got put on the trams quite a bit to help keep people entertained, coming to and from the park. A lot more but you know, sometimes you get those people running in to catch Fantasmic at the end of the night with their park hoppers. So It was
And
just
for
a lot
those
of
who've been
fun.
watching us for a while, you did the whole spiel in like our first episode, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Go
I still
back
remember that 6 years
onto
later.
YouTube or onto Spotify or wherever you can find the podcast or the show on YouTube. Trust me, Kaitlyn's got the best party trick of all time. She knows the tram spiel perfectly in both languages. So
Yeah. had to have that memorized. But yeah, so we got to see Fantasmic almost every night. You know, if it was obviously closed due to lightning or anything like that, we had to miss out. But it's great when you're just on the back of the tram and you're just pointing along with Mickey and following the cues, and it's just a lot of fun because you can go, you know, you hear the music coming and you're like, all right, guys, I need everyone to go look right over there between the trees. Do you see that rock? 3, 2, 1, and their flash would go off. And boom, Mickey's there, and like families would just freak out. They're like, "How did you do that?" And I'm like, "Disney magic."
You were telling us
awesome.
earlier about the Little Mermaid on Fantasmic.
Yeah, so a lot of people, I don't know if anyone's really paid attention a lot, but one of the great things about TikTok and Instagram is how we can share a lot of stuff in real time. And I discovered recently that Ariel, because she has her fins, can't walk off the boat after the performance or before. So they actually drape her in what appears to be like a black bag or a garment of sort, and it completely covers her like down to the knee, but you can kind of still see the fins just hanging there. And I gotta say, if I was looking at my entertainment contract and it was like, oh, by the way, we're putting you in a bag, you know, for like X amount of time, I'd be like, what?
That's Disney magic.
That was a fun discovery. You can Google
they made her disappear.
Yourself. Yeah, you can Google it for yourself. Just look up Fantasmic Ariel, and it's one of like the first things to pop up.
Yeah,
but
we're not sharing that picture. We don't need to get in trouble. But
it had me in stitches. I was like crying, laughing. It was so funny.
On to news of the absurd. Over
Speaking
at
of getting in trouble.
Yeah, speaking of getting in trouble. News of the absurd for the week. Every week, it just feels like there's something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
This week, a couple decided to climb down an embankment, go down under the bridge for a smoke break in the middle of Epcot. One of the amazing things about people doing this is they were about 100 yards from the exit and the smoking section. They just chose to go down thing.
I don't know. That looks like China. That's not 100 yards. Look at the picture. That's the China Pavilion.
Oh, is that bridge?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the one that was by
it
France.
Does look like the one over
the one that
France,
lifts up so the barges can get in there.
Oh, but still, what are you, 300 yards away from the entrance?
I mean, at that point too, like there are places that you can go. You just ask the cast member where it is. Like, it's not worth losing your ability to visit Walt Disney World because that is a restricted area for very good safety reasons. Like, you know, that water, there is wildlife in that water. You have the boats that are operating in there. You have the firework barges that are coming in and out. It's not safe, and we do not condone that kind of behavior on this show. We've seen a lot of people do really stupid things at the parks, and I'm just telling you right now, it is not worth it. Like, you're going to ruin your vacation. It just
right. If you want to go and
to walk to the entrance.
Right. If you want to go down there for a smoke break, go right ahead. I guarantee you, security will help you back up because that is a large embankment. So they'll gladly help you back up and escort you off property and then ban you from Walt Disney World for the rest of your life. And is it worth that over a cigarette? No. Look, I quit smoking a few months ago. And I haven't smoked since.
Right there.
I swear people's sense of entitlement lately has gotten so out of hand. They think rules don't apply to them, especially safety rules. And that's what it is. I mean, it is a bit of entitlement thinking that you could just get away with it. And I don't know. I've always been, when I smoked up to a few months ago, I haven't had a cigarette in a few months. It's been amazing. So I'll take all the congratulations in the world on that one. It's a hard thing to quit. But yeah, like I've always been like the world's most polite smoker. You can talk to my wife and like I never smoked inside my house ever. Like I've never had a cigarette inside of a building. So what's wrong with What's wrong with just taking the extra feet going outside? You come right back in. There's nobody at that entrance. I don't know.
Mhm.
Well, honestly, we've all been there. I mean, we've walked into the bathroom and smelled cigarettes. I mean, if you're that hard up, I mean, there's ways around that. You don't need to go and get yourself in trouble.
Right.
Exactly.
Especially in front of everybody. Like how you're down there on the bridge,
Yeah,
like
you've
nobody's
got
going to
the
notice you.
You've got the friendship boat circling in there. Yeah, it's just, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Ah, see, Heather's. That's funny. That's funny. I don't ever want to think of that at Disney World again. Thanks, Heather. Get that visual out of my head. All right, on to better news than that. I just wanted to throw that out there because that was a pretty big story this
Hey, at least
week.
it's not a fight this week.
Yeah.
We don't have a fight story?
No, no fight story.
That's not a goal for anyone out there, by the way. Just
I tell you, again, off topic. Like Chip was trying to get me to climb. We joke with each other about like, let's get in trouble so we can actually have a story to write about.
Yeah,
like, no, I want to.
Dumbo.
Yeah. So he's like, why don't you climb the back of the castle? I'm like, did you say click the castle? He was like, no, climb. I was like, it says click. So if you ever see somebody who's climbed the back of the castle, it was not me. But we'll write about it.
Yeah, it's happened before.
It has happened before. Onwards, Festival of the Lion King is hiring more actors and or actresses. They're looking for aerial performers this time. Chip, you're better off knowing about the Festival of the Lion King than I am. Now, is this the monkeys? They're rehiring monkeys to come back, or is this something different?
They did an ad for the Tumble Monkeys a few weeks ago. Then they also did singers. So now the aerial, or the birds that fly around and do their ballet dancing, that's who they're looking for now. So,
I can honestly say I did not see the show prior to the pandemic.
That would be why. Yeah. So they do the "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" portion of the show, which is one of my favorite parts because it's just, I mean, it's a beautiful show, and it's very weird when you've seen it so many times and you notice something's missing because either they didn't have enough people that day or they took something out. Right. And everyone I've talked to who has seen that show before has said it's just not the same without all of the performers, like with the Tumble Monkeys and then with the birds. So it's one of those things, when that does come back, you need to go see it because it's completely worth it, and it's just a beautiful moment. And to get that kind of artistry, noticed, it's really neat to see it utilized the way that they do.
Yeah,
So
I could honestly say, like, the first time I saw Chip when you were here on the 50th, I saw it with you, and man, what a great show. But I'm sure you were probably sitting there going, well, there's no monkeys and no aerial performers. And I'm sitting there going, oh, Simba.
It felt like a shell of the show. I mean, the singers were still good and everything, but yeah, you're missing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. Maybe next time when you get down here, they'll be fully open. Then we can go out there and.
You'll have to learn the Tumble Monkeys. Like there's like a whole.
Do they do the hand jive?
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's the hand jive. That's
like
not
straight
isolated
up
to them. But
no, but it's fun that they include that in the show, so it's more audience participation. It's a lot of fun.
Fun story. I actually worked for John Barrowman, who was in
Lucky Ducky.
Shauna Na. Not Shauna Na.
John.
Not John. Anyway, from Shauna Na, and they're the ones who did the original hand jive in Greece, and they would do it live at the show, and I still can't figure out how to do that. So I don't know where that just came from.
Don't worry.
I'll learn it from the monkeys. Speaking of around the holidays here and everything coming up, we have Valentine's Day is coming up. There is a lot of new snacks and treats to be had all over the parks, all over the resorts. Do you guys see anything there that looks decadent to you? I mean, it all looks so good. And
so that engagement cookie cake looks amazing.
The one from the Riviera looks amazing also. So which one were you talking about?
So there's an engagement ring cake, and it's a chocolate cake on top of a shortbread. That one on top of a shortbread cookie, and it just sounds amazing.
That looks like the one that they would have at Riviera or something like that. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know.
It looks like almost something you would see at Be Our Guest with the rose.
Right. Valentine's Day is great, but my only problem is they add strawberries into everything.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
I am not a fan. I'm allergic.
Oh,
I
just
will
more
am not
chocolate.
a fan. I will. No, I am a fan of it. I just can't do it. I love strawberry. Um, Man, those treats look amazing. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you,
Oh,
John
you're...
Bauman. Did I say? Okay, got it. Leave it to my
That's
wife.
all right.
She's literally sitting across the table from me on the other side of the camera. She could have just been like, it was Bauman. She had to write it in chat.
Good luck
I've
with
lost
that.
all control tonight. I have no control over this show.
Yeah, all the time.
Like all of a sudden, Ed McMahon's doing the Johnny Carson show. Just has no control over it. Speaking of snacks and treats, Gideons released their February 1st flavor of the month. And it looks decadent. It's really spicy. Like it's a spicy new flavor this month. We have
Ooh,
ancho
caliente.
chili, cherry, chocolate. Oh,
Ooh,
it
going for
looks.
that little spicy kick.
I don't mind a little bit of spice, and that ancho chili spice has got to be amazing with chocolate. Like it's got to taste decadent.
I feel like there's so many people, they hear that and they're like, what? But let me tell you, when there's a little bit of heat in there with it, it's really good. It actually is very complimentary. So
it really
yeah,
does.
worth
I
a try.
absolutely agree with you on that. Gideon's, Holly and I termed the phrase Gideons because we love Gideon so much that we'll stand in line at 9 a.m. and wait for 4 or 5 hours for the newest cookie.
And you guys know the owner too, don't you?
Steve is a wonderful human being. He does a lot down here in Central Florida for small businesses. He does a lot for the LGBTQ plus community down here. And he's just an amazing guy. He was on WWE and got one of the heavyweight belts the other day.
Nice.
He's just he will sit there and talk with you about everything and what goes into the passion behind making these cookies and the new recipes. And speaking of stuff, they have a new character, and we're going to talk about his artist for a second here. He is going to be at Festival of the Arts, I believe, on the 14th or 18th. He will be signing some of his artwork and selling some of his artwork over at Festival of the Arts. Like his characters, if you go into Gideon's over here at Disney Springs, the East Side is great. Don't get me wrong. But if you go into the Disney Springs one, Mike, good seeing you tonight. Heather, I think I've said hello to you. Yeah, those snacks are making me hungry. I'm actually going to be going to Sanaa in a minute, hopefully, and eating dinner. Oh, I love me some Sanaa. So anyway, yeah, you can check him out at Festival of the Arts. We'll be over there and we'll be taking pictures. I want to get some of the artwork from my own wall. We have the opening day. The day they opened, they were giving away 12 by 18 poster signed by the artist. So that's framed in my house. So I'm going to go over there and try and get a new piece that goes along with it. Along with all the little calendars that you just saw, the monthly shots are great. I can't say enough about Gideons. I don't care if you go to the East End Marketplace or if you're going to Disney Springs. Amazing cookies. And speaking of that, I have to send some out to Robbie in California.
Yeah, he wants
I promised him some.
So is it entertainment news time?
Actually, we'll wrap it up with entertainment. Yeah, we can wrap it up there and we can skip over SeaWorld because they just want to buy Cedar Fair and, well, they're SeaWorld. They'll do whatever they want.
I was going to say, tying into Valentine's Day, we have a whole collection that is added to Disney Plus. And I gotta say, I was a little surprised at some titles that were missing that I think are some of the most romantic stories, for Disney. But there's, two kind of sides to this. So we've got the Valentine's Day collection that is currently on Disney Plus here in North America. But actually overseas, for those who have Hotstar as an addition to their Disney Plus subscription, they have a whole category now named romance, which is a lot more full, or I should say it's fuller than the one here on Disney Plus, because the Disney Plus one is going to be temporary for the holiday. Usually, though, you can revisit the collections if you go through and do the search. But there's a ton of great titles on there. I mean, they've got WandaVision, they've got Princess and the Frog, they've got all these great titles on there. A lot of the shorts, like Tangled Ever After, things like that. So that's something that's great to go check out. There's something for every age group. If you're looking for something just to watch with your significant other, there's some great more adult content. You got some Fox movies on there. Great movies still to watch with the kids as well. So whatever your taste is for Valentine's Day. I know me and my husband, we tend to celebrate Valentine's Day not on Valentine's Day when it comes to going out for dinner, because we don't want to battle the crowd, but
Right.
we tend to make it a family event for that day. So, you know, great to just sit down and enjoy. I mean, my favorite romantic movies to watch is Tangled. It's my absolute favorite Disney movie of all time, probably favorite movie. And I mean, our wedding was based on it, and it was the first movie that we sat down and watched with our daughter.
Of course, you're going to watch that. That's the ultimate Valentine's Day collection for you to watch, or a movie for you guys to watch.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have any that you guys like to sit down and watch when you're just feeling like, you know, I just want to watch a good romance?
I'll give it to Chip. Chip, what do you guys have a good movie that you like to watch Valentine's Day?
Enchanted or Up or Wally. Those would probably be my three.
I am lucky. I'm going to say Wally, but I'm lucky, and I don't have to celebrate Valentine's Day at my house. I have an amazing, beautiful wife who has never wanted Valentine's in her life because our oldest son was born on Valentine's Day. So we celebrate our oldest son, Vladimir, who is 26 this year. I don't know where that happened, but man, 26. So we're gonna celebrate as a family this year and probably go out to Gideons or something like that. And we're gonna just chow down.
Go get that cookie, yeah.
Yeah. So with other entertainment news, ESPN, Hulu, Disney Plus are all celebrating Black History Month. We all know that February starts Black History Month in the U.S. here. So they have a lot of documentaries and Black inspired shows, and I mean everything you can have. What do we have on the list this month for Black History Month on the bundle?
Oh man, so the good news is we have the full list on our site right now, and it's under the Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN update. But so I broke it down into the different categories for everyone. I started off with Disney Plus, went with Hulu, then ESPN Plus. There's a lot of great content on there. Some of the highlights include The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder is going to be premiering on February 23rd.
Can't wait to see that.
It's great. They got most of the cast back, and they've got a bunch of new voices, a ton of guest stars that are going to be coming in and really give a voice to these wonderful stories that, I mean, they kind of, you know, could use their own show in all honesty, but it's going to be great to see them return and use that platform to give some voices a platform to stand on. So I can't wait to see that series though, and kind of revisit a good chunk of my childhood. Absolutely loved Penny and can't wait to see what goes on there. Another one that's really exciting is The Wonder Years season 1 is going to be coming to Disney Plus and Hulu. That stars Don Cheadle as the older version of Dean, going through the narration of his family's life. And you're going to get all the episodes 1 through 12 on the services starting February 9th.
Oh, so you're getting the whole season or half a season?
The first 12 episodes are going to be
series.
On both.
What are we going to call it?
Yeah, you're fine. So the episodes 1 through 12 are going to be on Disney Plus and on Hulu for you to stream. There's a ton of stuff coming on. We've got the first season, or the complete season of Basketball and Other Things. We've got Gully that's coming February 10th, and I mean that's just on Hulu, but it's still really exciting to see. And like I said, we have a whole list with all the descriptions. I wish I had an hour to sit here and talk about the whole thing. I really, really do.
Right. I got to tell you, for sports fans out there, the Deion Sanders documentary 30 for 30 is going to be coming out this month for it, which that's the way they do. ESPN does the 30 for 30 documentaries is tremendous. And Deion Sanders, I mean, what an amazing athlete, baseball, football at the same time. That's going to be a really, really fun one to watch. So all that is coming out. I'm really interested in the Wonder Years reboot. I was the same age as Kevin Arnold when that show premiered. So on that first episode, when he threw an apple across the cafeteria, I was like, yeah. So I have a connection to it. So I can't wait to see what this reboot's going to be like. I've heard nothing but good things, and Don Cheadle's voice is amazing in it. So again, check out that article on chipandco.com. Kaitlyn, let's get on to the downer of the entertainment news today. Every once in a while we have to talk about something, and I'm going to preface this one for the people who are listening live and who are interacting with us. Just let's keep this civil and beautiful and wonderful, like I know the Chip and Company audience is. Whoopi Goldberg was suspended from ABC's The View for 2 weeks for her opinion or for her comments regarding the Holocaust. And saying those words during an entertainment segment is a little rough, but could you fill us in what happened?
So, long story short, in Tennessee, one of the school districts has decided to pull a graphic novel called Mouse from their curriculum. Essentially, the story goes over Art Spiegelman, who created this book. Mm-hmm. He recounts the stories of his father and his mother going through the Holocaust as Polish Jews. And the reason that the school district claimed that they're going to be pulling it from the curriculum is due to quote unquote inappropriate language and nudity. Though for anybody who has done their reading courses and English courses in high school, that's not an uncommon content. So part of it is this argument on, is it because it includes the Holocaust? During an episode of The View on Monday, Whoopi Goldberg responded by saying that it wasn't actually about race because it was two groups of white people that were going against each other, and saying that that's not what it was, even though her
right, and that's what she had said. Okay.
Yeah, and so she did issue an apology the next day on The View, but then was subsequently put on suspension by ABC News president, and
the ABC News president said.
So Kim Godwin, who's ABC News president, shared that Whoopi's comments did not align with the values of ABC News, who had just shared about how, they're driven, kind, inclusive, respectful, and transparent when it comes to what they share in their content. Right. And it did not align with those goals, so they decided to suspend her for now. We don't know if there's any other action that's going to be taken or if there's a review going on. They urged Whoopi to use this as a learning experience. But I know something that you had said really struck home with me, of that this should be a learning experience for everyone, and that yes. It's a good idea, one, not to really speak on something that you may not be well versed in, particularly on national television, but at any point in time, you need to make sure that you're educated about what you are bringing to the table, right, no matter what you're talking about.
So my heritage is Jewish. My father was Jewish. My mother was not. So that means I am not considered part of the Jewish religion, but means I do have Jewish heritage. I was not offended by Whoopi Goldberg's comments. What I think should have happened was ABC and Disney could have come out and made this educational, as you just said. They could have come out and said, hey, let's all learn exactly what happened here, and let's get this out there so people can understand. I can understand why Whoopi Goldberg may not know exactly what happened. She has dealt with her own issues being a Black woman in this country already in life. So she may not be educated on what the Jewish heritage has gone through. And there's nothing wrong with that in this world. It's okay not to understand or know what somebody else is going through. Disney could have absolutely gone out there and gone, hey, let's teach you and let's go through. This is what the real history is. And Whoopi could have come out there and learned something, and they would have all looked very, very good at the end, because they were educating people on what did happen in history. So I think Disney dropped the ball a little bit on this one. And I'm not offended by Whoopi's statement, because I find it came from a lack of knowledge. And I'm not saying ignorance, because that's not what it is. It's just a lack of understanding what really happened. And using the word terms, race and stuff like that is a tough thing to do in this day and age. This is a cancel culture age. I think we could have used it as a learning experience for all of us. And all of us are wonderful people. And I think when we can meet something head on, we become stronger people for it. So
well, and I think that that's something that can still happen. I think that when she does come back, they can do that. I know one of the things that some people who are very adamant about is there does seem, and even Gina Carano, as you can see, had her 2 cents on the matter, where there does seem to be a disconnect or a double standard. And since ABC News is under the Disney umbrella, it does kind of not look great that the the consequences are so vastly different.
Right.
And I even put in the post, and this will be posted tomorrow, but Gina very adamantly does not say or call for Whoopi Goldberg to be fired like she did. Excuse me. She simply says that she prefers conversation over cancellation. So, using the chance to learn and be able to take that step back, reflect.
And that's where I'm going to stop saying anything about it,
exactly.
because I don't want to offend anybody in any way, shape, or form. So I think there's a discussion to be had amongst all of us, and it's wonderful. John Hepp, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm switching topics. That way we don't get riled up on anybody, because we have,
you're good.
We're going to end this. I mean, what's great is we all have the opinions, but we can sit here and have an adult conversation about it without going bad language or screaming at each other. Like, it's what human beings are meant to do, is have a conversation and have a civil one.
And another thing too is I mean, if we don't take the time to learn, or we don't take the time to communicate properly, we're not going to get anywhere. We have to be able to have open and honest conversations. And sometimes that includes hard ones where we have to sit and reflect, and we have to learn, and we have to say, no, I was misinformed, or I did not know something out of, my arrogance,
it's a give and take,
unknowing. Exactly. It's like you need to have grace when it comes to this kind of stuff. And in that, you need to be able to let somebody grow and learn and understand. And it's okay to let them apologize, but it would be nice to see some follow-up that, especially for someone who's more of a public figure, that makes sense.
Well said, Kaitlyn. Thank you so much. You wrapped it up beautifully. As Allie put it, that's what makes us all individual and beautiful, and it's so wonderful. So let's end this night on some upbeat, wonderful, happy news. We're going to go back to the well of Encanto. Encanto.
Yeah. Upbeat.
Upbeat. So we have a few things about Encanto. We're going to put 3 articles into one discussion here. We have a deleted ending that popped up out of nowhere. We have Bruno is now. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about that guy. Is number 1 on the Billboard charts, and then the Country Bears, and then Lifeguards. Kaitlyn, I'm leaving this one in your hands. You're the entertainment genius.
I'll break it down. We have had a lot of Encanto news, and honestly, this is great because there is this huge flood of interest. So this is something that has been something that's popped up on my newsfeed that's wholesome and nice to see that it just continues to grow. So one of the things that's really exciting is director Jared Bush and Lin-Manuel Miranda, a few other people, joined in on a Q&A watch party on Twitter for Encanto. And director Jared Bush especially shared a ton of information on the movie that we were not privy to, including some lyrics that were changed, some powers that were meant to be for other characters, some other characters that were meant to exist that aren't even in the movie. And one of the fun things is Jared Bush shared a deleted post-credit scene that was one of the capybaras coming up to Casita and trying to relieve itself. And Casita retaliated just a little bit. So this was.
Can I tell you, the capybara, the judgmental capybara, is one of my daughter's favorite things, and I can't not see it everywhere.
I love how it just is like, I'm not moving. Like, it's unapologetic in that scene with Bruno. Bruno looks down at it. It's just like, hi. It's like, I'm not going to move. So what are you going to do? But the nice part is that even though it's nice to see that in hindsight, it definitely was kind of disconnected or disjointed with the actual ending of the movie, which ends with the family portrait of the Madrigals. I do think it was a good choice not to include it. Would have been
Fred, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, Fred. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to say goodnight to.
No, you're good. You're good.
Go ahead.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Fred. So it is a little disjointed with the actual ending of the movie. It was a much nicer note to end it with the family portrait of the Madrigals. It would have been nice maybe as a Disney Plus bonus feature. Maybe they could still add that. But ultimately they decided ending on a potty joke was probably not a good idea for a movie that was so important with its message. So yeah, that one decided to be that one got the chopping block. But yeah, the film's been doing great. As we talked about before, We Don't Talk About Bruno is number 1 on Billboard Hot 100 list. And the really great news about this is that it is the first Disney animated feature film song to make it to number 1. And in all technicality, it's one of the first ones in the movie that actually made it to #1. The one before that was A Whole New World.
Right.
And that was, what was it? It was Peebo and
Peebo Bryson. Come on, that was what, back in 94, 93? 92?
92, before I was born.
Oh, you just hurt me
I
there.
know.
You just hurt Chip and I.
I'm a baby. But yeah, so it was
I was about to graduate high school almost.
Yeah. I was 93 for me.
So that was the first Disney animated feature film song to make it to #1 at all on the Billboard Hot 100 list.
Good for them.
Now, this is the first one that's in the movie that made it on the soundtrack that made it to #1.
Right.
Every other one before that that's been added had never gone past. Regina Bell, thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. Heather's on top of it.
So informed.
So one of the great things is that all the other songs had never made it past #4, including Let It Go from Frozen. So to see this
really
far surpass it on the chart is a huge, huge deal. And I think this is going to secure some Lin-Manuel Miranda work in Disney for quite some time.
And that's fine. Look, if he wants to be the next Tim Rice or Alan Menken and work that way and be a lyricist and do that, I'm good with that. So what's up with the Country Bears and Encanto?
So the Country Bears and a few lifeguards, but we'll get into that. So the Country Bears, the Disney Parks TikTok app has been very, very active throughout the parks and resorts. And one of the things that they did is, because of the comparison between Teddy Barra and Isabella's scene in Encanto, when she's lowered on the vines, both of them are lowered on the vines for their big, like, show-stopping moment. It drew a lot of attention. So the Disney Parks app actually did a compilation video with the different Country Bears syncing to the music, and it's scarily accurate if you actually watch the video.
I hope that's a real Easter egg. Like I so hope that really came from there.
And if it is inspired by the attraction, one, I love that kind of a detail as an entertainment writer. So if that was on purpose, Jared Bush, I need to know. If it was a complete accident and coincidence, I think that that's amazing, and that kind of adds to the Disney magic. But yeah, the video is absolutely hilarious. But one that had me laughing even harder was one of the Grand Floridian Disney or the Disney lifeguards did a parody video, and theirs was a little more clever on the jokes that were in it. If you have seen the movie a million times, like I have at this point because I have a toddler, the nods that they kind of do with the different lifeguards doing something different as it gets to the end. I mean, there's one with a bucket on her head, just like, it's like, I'm Jorge, I make the speckle. Like it, that kind of joke in there is always really appreciated. Or like, or like, covering their face, or it gets to the end and there's a lifeguard named Bruno. It's so funny.
There it is. Yep. And if you play too much of that, we get copyright claimed. So we're not going to play too much of that.
But
that's amazing.
It's a lot of fun. And yeah, that's one of the great things about TikTok is we can see these cute little moments that happen where, they can get very, very far spread. It's great to see the small time creators get to do some really fun work.
Kaitlyn, you are amazing entertainment writer here at Chip and Company. I don't know how much more we can go through tonight. We're running out of time here, but where can people see you? Where can we get you at? I know you have some new shirts that are going to be for sale, new designs, along with your writing here.
I do. So yeah, as you can tell by my Instagram, at Kaitlyn Hogancamp, Kaitlyn Hogancamp. I work on a lot of stuff. Sometimes I get some goodies from Disney too that I can write about for you guys. But yeah, I've been working on some Hawkeye inspired gear, and I did a little bit of research. So it's really neat to be able to do what I love for fun and for work.
That Kate Bishop, the Hawkeye shirt is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's going to be a limited run in my shop, Palette Productions, which is also on Instagram. And you can also find me on Twitter at Kate, Kait, of VV.
As always, Kaitlyn, you're amazing. We will see you again next week while we do this. Chip,
Actually, no, I think next
No,
week
we're not
we've
going to be
got
live
something
like
else.
next week.
Yeah, we've got a little surprise for next week, don't we?
Oh, right. We are going to, just so everybody's aware, we're going to be live from the View at the Walt Disney World Swan Reserve doing an event. We have a media invite to come over there. So Chip and I will actually be live doing a show together that night over at the View, which gives us the best view of harmonious fireworks in the world. The top of 14th floor of the Swan Reserve is amazing. We'll talk about that in a second. Chip, thank you so much for having us out tonight. Thanks for hosting
Thank you
this.
guys for being on, as always.
We can find you everywhere, chipandco.com.
Yeah.
Chip and Company on YouTube, Chip and Company on Facebook. You might be a Disney addict. I mean, you're everywhere.
And now on podcasts.
Yeah.
Spotify, and then it looks like, what's the other company called?
Well, we're on Spotify right now. Spreaker, I'm sorry, is next. We're trying to get into iHeartRadio, Google, Amazon, and Apple. We're just waiting for the applications that I submitted to go through, but Spotify is the main one. I mean, everybody uses Spotify.
So if you guys are listening to this after we've recorded this live on Spotify or anything, please drop a message. Let us know that you've watched this. We really do appreciate everybody watching either live on YouTube or Facebook. We love having you here at Chip and Company. I just want to say thank you. Oh, wait, for me, we are the Disney, Holly, my wife and I are the Disney Fanatics. We have a brand new YouTube page. You can get us at the Disney Fanatics on YouTube. We do live shows. We cover everything going on at the parks. We do some funny shorts, but that is the Disney Fanatics on YouTube.
That's still my
there you go.
Is the Pikachu.
So one of the nice things about working media for Chip and Co is we get to do many events, and normally I don't cross over. Like, I don't put any of the media stuff on my personal thing out of respect for Chip, because it's a media invite for Chip. It's not a media invite for me. So I normally put all that stuff on the Chip and Co Instagram or Facebook or wherever it goes. That one though, I kind of was just messing around. I was like, oh, let's see what happens. And MegaCon Orlando, we just got to mess around with Pikachus for 3 or 4 days, but that was up on the Chip and Co site for about 6 months before I stole it back over for our personal thing. So
yeah, we have some friends that we support as well, don't we?
We have, I want to say thank yous. Let me just give a few thank yous out to 2 or 3 different people. One of them is This Diz Life. You can get that at This Diz Life podcast or This Diz Life. Mark, Dwayne, Kirk, Alicia, Lori, those guys at This Diz Life podcast put on an amazing show. They have a Star Wars show on their network that is, it gives me an hour or so to geek out over Book of Boba Fett and act like a Star Wars fan that I am, and I get to just be 10 years old talking about Star Wars for a little while. So I want to say thank you so much to Mark and Dwayne over there at This Diz Life podcast. They are now on their Monday show. They are using exclusively Chip and Company for their news source, which is amazing, and we appreciate those guys. So I wanted to make sure that we say thank you and tell our fans, go over there and watch. They're doing more. We're here on Thursdays. They're there on Mondays and Wednesdays, and they have a few other shows. And then I also want to say thank you to the Pete McDevitt Show. Pete also is using Chip and Company for their news source. They absolutely, as we tell everybody, you can use anybody you want as a news source. If you're using us, we really appreciate it. The Pete McDevitt Show and us, we worked out a deal. He can use anybody he wants, but he chooses to use Chip and Company. So Pete and Chris over at the Pete McDevitt Show. If you're looking for sports and Disney all in one channel, the Pete McDevitt Show is where you want to go. You can do football, you can do Olympics, you can talk Main Street USA, you can talk Magic Kingdom. He's got a great show over there. So
hey, and I see some Baltimore teams going on over there. I mean, I'm born and raised Chicago, but I gotta respect the fandom around here. They are.
I do believe Pete's from Maryland. He's actually from right outside Annapolis.
Hey,
so he's big Ravens and Baltimore Orioles. But yeah, those guys are great, and they're going to actually be guests coming up. We're going to schedule them to be a special guest to come on and talk for about 10-15 minutes with us in the next few months. Along with a few other guests we're going to have. This show is growing. Chip is an amazing producer, and he's kind of giving us the leeway to just do what we want to do and bring you guys as the best show that we can. And right now it's live, the Disney News and Review. So we appreciate you guys. Anybody have any last words?
Many hands make light work.
Many hands make light work. Yeah, I don't even, I was like, oh, something will come to me while somebody else says something. Nothing came to me.
Well,
so
that's all right. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. You have fun next week, Rick. Not too much fun without me.
Yeah.
Kaitlyn, I don't know what I'm going to do without you. I can't talk about the entertainment without you. So maybe we'll sneak in an article or two here, and we'll do it. But guys, join us next week. We're going to be live from Walt Disney World's Swan Reserve at the 14th floor at the View. We'll be doing the fireworks and everything. Until we see you, Kaitlyn, in 2 weeks, back for the regular live Disney News and Review. I want to say thank you so much to everybody who watched on everything, and thank you so much for listening on the podcast, guys. Have an amazing night. We'll see you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.